The next and the last panel for today is somewhere in between panel 2 and panel 4, between the leveraging of cooperation of corporates with existing ecosystem, so searching for a new blood, and attempts of sparking innovation within companies itself, so refreshing the blood of the companies. And this panel is going to focus on corporate innovation centers and how they can interfere with the new players. And I would like to invite the moderator, Faruk Inaltekin, CEO of Bilkent Cyberpark from Turkey. Welcome. Etienne Quadiodo, GM on Francophone West Africa, Main 1, Côte d'Ivoire. Dear Etienne, welcome. And it's also WBAF member. Hassan Kabaz, Vice President of Isfahan Science and Technology Town, Iran. Welcome. Mohamed Fetakrishen, GM of SFAX Technopark from Tunisia. So apparently he might join us. Oh, you're here, good. Perfectly on time. So the gentleman, the floor is yours.
Hello, welcome to one of the latest panels of I was mentioning about the day. It was long but very beneficial and creative for all of us. In this panel, we will be discussing about corporate innovators, corporate accelerators, which is a key element in investment ecosystem. I will make a just small introduction about the subject and to leave the microphone to the discussants. I think we are all familiar with that smart money thing here. Corporate accelerators, corporate innovators have nearly all of those keywords that are running under smart money, which are, mentorship, technical product assistance, recruitment support, business development activities, fundraising, advice, and capital support. With all that in mind, I would like to give the first microphone to Mr. Etienne. From Francophone, from West Africa. Can you please at the first stage share your experience by introducing yourself, your institution's activities, and in the second turn, I will mention about takeaway things, what you emphasize, what you mention in the end. Etienne, please.
Okay. Thank you. I am Etienne Quadio, the High Commissioner for WBAF for Côte d'Ivoire. And before talking about the topic, it is important to get an overview of the economic situation in Côte d'Ivoire, which is we think there are good opportunities for collaboration between startup and corporate. Côte d'Ivoire has the highest GDP growth in our region, Western Africa, which is 8%. The average is 7% during the last 5 years. And we have around 25 million people in Côte d'Ivoire. And what is interesting is the mobile internet penetration within the population, which is 50% with a 4G coverage of the country. And in terms of mobile phone penetration is more than 120%. So that means one person has at least two phones. You know. And this situation led the ICT part of the GDP, the growth is around 9%, and it is growing every year. And what our government do to support innovation and so on, they have created a digital foundation to support and promote innovation and startup among young people. And what we are trying to do as a company, because I am the general manager for Main One in Francophone West Africa, and what we are trying to do is to create the technology platform, the connectivity platform, to enable people, young people, to develop and to create in terms of, and we built the first submarine cable connecting Africa to Europe, from Lagos to London. And currently what we are trying to do is to connect Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Ghana to our submarine cable. Based on this infrastructure, we can bring enough capacity, internet capacity to people. And we also built the biggest data center in Lagos currently, connected with all the internet exchange points in the region. So we offering the infrastructure, for example, for cloud solution, for co-location, so to give to the people what they need in terms of connectivity platform to be more creative and so on. So we open, as I said, we open the door. We are open access company, connectivity solution, and to give the technology resources that people they need, the young people they need to be creative and so on. So what is our role and what we are trying to do within all the region. All the ECOWAS region is about 300 million people. Thank you.
Thanks. I think Microsoft, it's not working still? Microphone, no, okay. Thanks for sharing great numbers and contribution. And now Hassan, a good friend of mine who is also from Iran. Hassan, can you please share your experience and best practices in terms of corporate accelerator or innovation?
Thank you, Faruk. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hassan Khaikbaz. I'm Vice President of Isfahan Science and Technology Town. Before sharing the experiences of ISTT, it's good to give you some information about this science town. It's a complex of several science parks and technology business incubators. And ISTT is the first and pioneering science town in Iran. And we have 3 different stages to support startups and also knowledge-based companies. We have pre-incubation centers, we have around 10 technology business incubators, and also 3 science and technology parks. Altogether, in these centers, more than 520 startups and companies are working. And we provide the services like the other science parks and business incubators. We provide different services for them, including the physical space, financial support, mentorship, consultation, and other services that are common in science parks. But before 2016, we didn't have any corporate innovation accelerator. We had incubation, we had the pre-incubation, and we had the organizations that support mature companies. In 2016, we understood that some of the companies and the startups have the capabilities to grow fast, and we need to have accelerators in our science town. And we didn't want to establish by ourselves these accelerators. So we negotiated with one of the biggest telecommunication companies in the country. Its name is Hamra Awal, like the Turk Telecom and Turkcell in Turkey, to run their business accelerators in ISTG. So after negotiation, we signed a contract with them to run this corporate innovation accelerator in ISTG, and based on this win-win contract, we provided, we had some commitments, and also they had some commitments. For example, we provide physical space as a co-working space for this corporate innovation accelerator, 150 square meter for free for 1 year, and they also provided the equipments and the facilities that startups needed. So after working, they also need to pay 3% of the sales revenue of the companies to ISTG. So after 2 years, many good things are happening because we have the different services in ISTG, and they can use our services. For example, they can use the mentors that we have in ISTG, and also the equipments, the workshop and laboratories that we have. And I think it's a good example.
Again, thanks for great contribution. Now the next discussant, Mr. Mohammed from Tunis, SFAX Technopark. Stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. So let me introduce myself. My name is Fatah Krishan. I'm the General Manager of Science and Technology Park in SFAX, Tunisia. And it's a science and technology park dedicated for ICT. So I think that there is 3 waves of corporate innovation, and in Tunisia we are still doing both of them, because now most of the company, or at least the big companies, especially European and American companies, they started doing R&D in research centers and internally, and then they started creating their own accelerator, incubator, etc., especially high-tech companies. But now things are changing because these big companies are not anymore interested in financing all this, but they are more like angel investors in startups. So they come through the different accelerator, incubator, R&D centers, etc., and they try to target the project that interests them most. And I think that this is the big change today, that it's for sure cheaper for them than having their own R&D centers, etc. It's not their business to mentor people, to teach people how to work, how to build a company, etc. And it's less risky because they're gonna buy a product that is already, if you want, they already have a POC or something. And we, as a Technopark, we provide 3 of them. So we still have companies that come to research center. There are still companies, especially in the biotechnology, etc., that have their own research center. Sometimes they work in the facilities of the research center, but most of them work on their own research centers. And it's very heavy in terms of investment. It's very heavy in terms of management, etc. And we have also companies that have built their own accelerators, especially telco companies, in order, you know, to provide new services on their on the top of the service they are providing now. But most of the company are going to the free model, the 3rd model, which is to support existing startups, and it's easier for them. It also easier for us, and I mean it's better because the entrepreneur and the company and the product are coming, if you want, they don't come related to an activity, but that they are born from something else. And this makes them more sustainable, if you want, and more open to new markets, etc. And I think that this is the big change that is coming right now, and most of the business park, science park, accelerators, etc. are working on that. Yeah.
Ask from here. I would like to ask a question. I will be glad if you can share with the audience. If you have some solid example of a company or an entrepreneur that you have provided some kind of support and that goes global, that goes to the market and got some success story. Do you have such a story?
Yeah, we have a company which is based in Tunisia. It's called Fuba. It's a manufacturer of electronic cards, and this company started with their own R&D department. It's based in Tunis, and then they grow this R&D department to a kind of accelerator because they found that there is a lack of project. They don't find enough project in their R&D centers, and as soon as you put people in the R&D centers for 2 to 3 years, I mean, it's done. You kill them; they are not productive anymore, like at the beginning. And the same company now don't have anymore any R&D centers or any incubator, and is just coming to us 3 times per year in order to let the companies on the same business pitch in front of it and find new businesses. And that way they found a company called Chifco, which is working on IoT, and started the collaboration with them. They bought the company, in fact, as a first stage. And now they are going internationally. They bought another company on the same business in Germany, and they are going internationally. This kind of plan, if you want, help small companies to go internationally faster, but help also big companies to find new markets or new services to sell worldwide.
Okay, thanks for that.
Excuse me, may I ask to your question also?
Yeah, I would come to that. Okay, please continue.
Okay, I told you that running this corporate innovation accelerator inside the science park has many good advantages for that corporate. For example, one of the startups in that accelerator wanted to export its products. They produce a smarty pot. You don't need to watering that pot, and you can control the watering by your mobile phone and the application. And one of the other companies inside ISTT, that is a mature company, started its activities from technology business incubators, and now they are in Science Park, have an office in Muscat in Oman. And the CEO of that company helps this company in that accelerator to export their products in Oman. And this is also the good thing that is happening inside the Science Park.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. And I would like to ask your takeaway sentences. What would you would like to tell the audience here they should remember while going home? Etienne. Actually, Etienne, I didn't ask you about your success story because you already mentioned what have you been doing, and it's a great story. Thank you. Please.
What we would like to point out is the importance for startup or innovators to get a reliable and affordable platform for innovation, which is driven by connectivity, by internet. So, for example, we notice in Africa, Western Africa, that we have young people who have brilliant ideas, and sometimes the resources, technology resources, are their limit to be creative. So what we are trying to do now is to open this technology platform by connectivity.
Removing the limits, huh?
Yeah. Because it is important for, it's good to get a bright idea, it's good to get the will to succeed, but you also need a platform, a creative platform. If you would like to talk about innovative solution, that means you need technology. So what we are trying to do in our region is, okay, to provide this technology to young people, to corporate, also to government, because we also work with government for some national projects in order to create the environment for enterprises, for corporate, and so on. So our main focus is to work on the connectivity platform on reliable and affordable solution. And now we are building the West African Internet Exchange point to connect all the regional traffic and to create local content. Because we noticed that most of African, they are the heavy user of internet, but most of them, the content is from outside. So now we know that we have a rich resources. So young people, they are encouraging to create local content. And we offer the data center that they need, the capacity that they need to host locally their content and let the market use it, and this creates money for them.
Okay, very good story. Hassan?
I just want to say to the corporates to run corporate innovation accelerator, to have more innovation in their companies, and suggest to run their business accelerator inside Cyberpark to benefit from the advantages of Cyberpark.
Yeah, if I may, I think that three things have been said here in order to have, the best receipt to have a good innovation in corporative. The first thing is we need the experience of the big companies, their experience, their know-how, etc. Second, we need fresh minds, young people. And third, the best thing is to put them in an open area, which is an incubator or an accelerator, where you're going to have multiple services. It's not dedicated for one service, and they're going to find other people working with them. They're going to, cross services and find new idea, work in an open innovation, etc. These are the three most important things. Most of the big companies, even those, the very big ones, the GAFA, etc., they started their own incubator, but now they are struggling with that, and they are trying to turn it back to other universities or other accelerators, etc., because it's not their business. That's it.
Thank you. Actually, in addition to the parties that are mentioned in the stories, we can add the university actually. In the soul of technoparks, we have the universities, obviously. And when you add that, young people, technoparks management, SMEs, big institutions, we are going to triple helix that we are always using as a terminology in our ecosystem. And in the last, if you have any questions. Okay, I think everything was, one question. We can try to hear if there is no microphone. Even the discussant says no microphone here.
Thank you very much for the interesting discussion. My name is Fatih from the Central Bank of Turkish Republic, from the research team. So I actually want to ask our speakers to give more insights.
To all of them, all of us?
This is actually a general sort of discussion type of question.
Okay, anyone can answer? We still have some time.
What will be a good role for the policy making? So what could government do to make your life easier in terms of getting the firms, getting these startups to work on their accelerators, to get their work done faster in a more innovative way. This is probably a very big and general question, but what could be sort of the policy intake?
Who wants to start? Or
I will start if you want, and then we'll give you the mic. I don't think that there is something that most of the government are giving tax incentives in order to interest more companies in order to work on innovation. But I don't think that there is a receipt. The governments create the ecosystem and probably help to support incubators and this kind of structure to get funds, to get grants in order to start this. But I think that corporates are not really looking for government incentive more than looking for new added value services. And it's very important for them. And that's why I said that these value added services are exactly what the company needs.
Before your answer, can I just add one thing? Like, since the morning I've heard typical government policy suggestion is tax incentives, obviously providing more funds. Your technocents are mostly perhaps supported by the government. But what can we say, at the top of all this, list? Maybe patent rights, maybe some other sort of things that we should probably talk about.
So,
may I start? Actually, the government and policymakers are always trying to put some barriers by preventing the trouble. Okay? Because rules are for everyone. If you are trying to do something in somewhere about something, for example, technoparks in Turkey, they're trying to define the rules. I mean, rules might not be the correct word here. They are trying to define the ways of doing things. Okay? But while doing that, I think the keyword that all of us here wants to hear, policymakers should ease that process, because the last thing I mentioned was the triple helix, and the government is one of that triple thing. So while defining the ways, they should always ease those ways of doing things. Any addition? Okay. Any more questions? Okay. I would like to thank all of the discussants here and enjoy the rest of the forum here today and tomorrow. Thank you for coming and listening.